Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat with Dr. Foojan.
Every time I come up about a problem. And I mean, in January, we lost our home in the Palisades. We lived in the Palisades. And so every time I remind myself, well, those 60 people, most, and so they're in order, by the way. So resilience was number one because it was the most common. But of those 60, a majority had overcome horrible life events and they had gone through it. They weren't angry, they weren't bitter, they were at peace with it. It had, in a way, definitely strengthened them. And so I think when I said this to myself when I was losing my home and through my physical problems, I'm like, things will work out. And that's what they had believed as well.
Introducing a powerful new update from the Foojan app. Now with flexible subscription plans to fit your journey monthly, quarterly, or yearly. Our new AI-driven onboarding customizes your path to feeling better, faster, and enjoy a refreshed experience with stunning 3D interactive videos. Update now. Empower your inner voice with Foojan. Download today.
Well, welcome to the Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Foojan Zain. I'm a psychotherapist, an author, and the founder of the Awareness Integration Theory. So today, I will be talking to Dr. Laura Gabayan. She's a world-renowned physician, researcher, and a Psychology Today contributor. Through her Wisdom Research Project, she interviewed 60 wise adults across North America and defined 8 fundamental elements of wisdom. She describes her findings in her new book and journal, Common Wisdom: 8 Scientific Elements of a Meaningful Life, and the Common Wisdom Journal. And you can capture what all that she does. She actually also has an wisdom IQ test for you. You can get that in lauragabayan.com. We had a great conversation. We went through each one of those 8 components of wisdom and kind of elaborated on it and opened it. And I'm sure that you will enjoy it as much as I did. Now be sure to subscribe to this podcast and my YouTube channel. Write to me and let me know what topics you like us to talk about. Connect with me through my website, foojanzain.com, and be sure to go to the Foojan app. They've got 31 areas for you that you can look at, going through guided journaling and really looking at different areas of your life and different relationships you have. And in the research has shown that people, even with one area, have been able to improve their life area about 70 to 75%. And you have Mira, which is your AI chatbot, which is trained in the awareness integration. You can answer your questions. Now, connect with me through my social media platform also and share your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Now, without any further ado, here's Dr. Laura Gabayan.
Listen up if you want to promote your personal growth and self-awareness. I found the Foojan app last month and I have been absolutely loving it. I personally have never learned guided meditation, but thanks to this app, I now have learned incredible tools for my own stress relief and emotional self-awareness. Not to mention, there are self-evaluation tools and professional coaching available to utilize however your journey to self-discovery takes you. Join Foojan today and redefine your life one step at a time.
Intentional Parenting, a practical guide to awareness integration theory, written by Dr. Jafari, Dr. Foojan Zain, and Dr. Manoukian, 3 experts in human development, is your step-by-step guide to raising a healthy child prepared for a culturally integrated world. You're supported in parenting infants to adolescents using the latest evidence-based scientific research on parenting. Order your copy on Amazon now.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to have Dr. Laura Gabayan with me. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course. You're a physician. And tell me what your interest is as a physician, expertise.
I did residency in emergency medicine.
Okay. All right. And then
the ER physician.
And then you went and you have written the book about the common wisdom, 8 common wisdom.
Well, after residency, I did a, well, I mean, you can specialize, and my specialty was research. So that's when I got my master's, and I published a lot, and I did research. So I'm a scientist.
And what did you research on?
Before it was looking at outcomes after the emergency department, like when you send people home.
Hmm.
But and as ER physicians, we don't have follow-up. So I had access to the Kaiser of Southern California data and then Medicare data, and but that was my research. But right now, my book is about common wisdom, and that was also a research-based study looking at trying to define wisdom.
Yes. So common wisdom, 8 scientific elements of the meaningful life. And also now you have released the Common Wisdom Journal.
Yeah, so the reason I even wrote this book, and a lot of people wondered why someone who's so left brain, so Western trained. I mean, I used to publish a lot in academic journals, and I view myself more as a scientist, well, a physician scientist, but as a scientist. And a lot of people are like, well, why did you choose something so abstract and woo-woo? And so it's funny because I didn't mean to, but in 2013, I noticed that my body started to develop random symptoms. And as you can tell, I still have slurred speech, so I have weak muscles. And I at the time was diagnosed by a physician because I was very pro Western medicine and with an autoimmune condition, and it turned out to be wrong. Turned out that I have chronic Lyme disease, and the one of the Lyme infections I have is really hard to get rid of. So that's why I still have, even though I've done so many things to kill it. Anyways, I think the whole process from 2013 till 2018 is when I started looking into wisdom. I was really upset about how very focused on diagnoses physicians were and how they were not open to other ideas and they didn't think outside the box. And so that's when I thought to myself, well, who does? And the wise do. And that's when I was like, well, let me look into wisdom. And I realized we don't know anything about wisdom. Nothing. I mean, the Buddha said something, we really don't know much, and so then I was like, well, I read about it, and, initially I was like, well, is there a test? Is it this? So the only thing they can identify wise people are wise as somebody wise or someone else is a human. And so that's why I was like, okay, so after I interviewed 60 wise adults, I did not know any of them. I did advertise, do you know someone wise? And the people nominated somebody for the project as wise. And it took a while, but it was when I hired a research assistant and kind of like a marketing person, and we posted on social media, on Reddit, on Nextdoor, everywhere, just to see if we can get the 60 wise people. And after I spoke with them, I defined wisdom as 8 elements.
Beautiful. So one of them, and the first one you put in, is resilience, and it's something that you've experienced yourself also through the process of kind of living through the Lyme disease. So the first one is resilience. Can you share a little bit about resilience?
It's funny because every time I come up about a problem, and I mean, in January we lost our home in the Palisades. we lived in the Palisades. And so every time I remind myself, well, those 60 people, most, and so they're in order, by the way. So resilience was number one because it was the most common. But of those 60, a majority had overcome horrible life events. And they had gone through it. They weren't angry. They weren't bitter. They were at peace with it. It had, in a way, definitely strengthened them. And so I think when I said this to myself when I was losing my home and through my physical problems, I'm like, things will work out. And that's what they had believed as well.
Right. So, but there's also this, as I hear, the endurance of through the time. And you're saying that as you're enduring whatever hardship that you're having at that moment, there is a belief system about I can handle this, I can contain it, I can tolerate it, and this will pass, this shall pass. So
It shall pass. It's look, I was known as the Energizer Bunny. I was in the ER and people don't know different specialties, but there's specialties who really don't want to listen to anyone. And the surgeons, for example, they don't like to listen to ER docs. They don't like to listen to anyone. But everyone listened to me. And I got everything done. But then this happened. So of all people, I had my body stopped. But I changed course. So I'm grateful for that. But throughout this, how difficult it's been, I've just reminded myself that this too shall pass and that I'm learning something. It already had been a gift. I mean, it gave me this book, it gave me a change of life. It already has done wonders in that regard. I just want to get better, but it already has.
the second one you shared in your research is kindness.
Yes, and it's funny because I didn't grow up with it. It's not something my parents really talked about. But my husband is very kind. And our kid, like, that's what he teaches the kids all the time. And so kindness is very important to him and his family. And when I asked, when I spoke with the 60, I asked them all the same 10 questions. And I never said, what do you think wisdom is? I didn't say that. I said, different elements of, what do you think is the most important element in when you interact with others? And a lot of people said kindness, and that's why it came up as the second element. And if you think about it, you want to be around someone who's kind.
Yes. And not only that you want to be around someone who's kind, which is very important, but I think that the experience when it's within us, when we create that kindness, when we intend from kindness, when we act from kindness, there is a sweetness that we actually experience. There's this expansion that we experience. And there's a safety that comes with kindness whenever we're experiencing or we're in the face of kindness.
What do you mean by safety?
I think that when the intention, when we imagine that there's someone who is wanting to harm us, we lose safety, security. But
security, you're right. And I think it's a sense of calmness. Peace.
Yes, but even like, we've sometimes have been hurt by a friend or a maid or someone, but if we thought they're kind, we forgive them because we don't take it because we feel, okay, it was a mistake, it wasn't like they didn't intend to harm me.
Right.
So the concept of kindness creates some sort of safety within us when it comes from the other side, but also reciprocal. If I am kind to others and they feel safe beside me, then there's more of a connection that can happen.
And I think with kindness, I agree. And I think with kindness, what was important was also being kind to yourself. And I think because I didn't grow up with it, I was not mean to myself, but I definitely like being kind to myself, my own joy, my own happiness, my comfort came last. And I think And I've talked to people and they're like, oh, I don't care about kindness to myself. I'm just kind to others. I'm like, well, no, I think you'd be more kind. You'd be more of a whole human if you are kind to yourself. And I think it's important because a lot of people take it for granted, think that it's selfish, think that it's this and that. But I think it's important to be kind to yourself.
Very much. I created a psychological and educational model called awareness integration. And one phase is about how do you treat yourself? And it's the same, it's like, how do you treat yourself positively and how do you treat yourself negatively? And it's like the same thing you were sharing. Am I kind to myself or am I
Right.
punitive? Do I punish myself? Am I scolding myself? Or is it, if I make a mistake, I'll be compassionate to myself and kind of like, it's okay. It's okay. I made a mistake. I can move on. And it just takes away a lot of what I call unnecessary abuse that we do in our own head with ourselves that holds us back. Versus, like you shared, if I have kindness to myself, it creates that concept of being contained emotionally and then moving on. You're not going to be stuck in yourself too much. You're going to be active. You're going to be moving forward when you start with kindness to yourself.
Agree.
Now, the third one you shared is positivity.
It's funny because I was telling someone I think all these 8 elements are related. To be resilient, you need to be positive, and I think they're related. So, and then the fourth element is spirituality. So that was also something that was really important to them. But I think it's so positivity. I think it's kind of not only looking at an obstacle and saying that I can do it. I'll overcome this and it'll work out. It will make me stronger. And I think being looking at the bright side of everything. And it's hard to do. It's really hard to do. We all have a natural negativity bias. We were in survival mode most of our lives. Count back hundreds of years. That's who you were. We had to make sure there wasn't a tiger or a lion going around. So we had to be negative. But we don't have to be like that anymore. And so I think it's really important for people to realize that, being positive is something you choose. It's contagious. It's an effort. It takes time. And it doesn't mean you're positive all the time. It means that you can't be negative, but let go of those feelings and be positive.
Right. You're not getting stuck in negativity. Like,
Right.
it shows up and you kind of like lift off and go into your positive side in order to make the actions and move on versus get
Right.
stuck in some sort of a negativity and ruminate around it. So the
Right.
positivity allows you to move, create
Mm.
actions and move from it. Yeah,
Mm.
the next one is spirituality. Spirituality is such a umbrella type of a word around so many different experiences. So spirit, some people, have the religiosity within spirituality. Some people will go all the way to very new age conversations, very vast, very, personal experiences that other people might not necessarily share. So it's a very vast umbrella. What does your research say, and what are your personal experiences around this matter?
Well, I didn't really grow up learning about spirituality. I'm a scientist, and that was definitely the hardest chapter to write. And I always learned if you can't measure it, if you don't see it, if you can't explain it, it doesn't exist. And spirituality, you mentioned how it's complicated. I think it's what you're describing is how it's very personal, how everyone has a different experience with it, and it's definitely not religiosity. You can be one or the other and not have not be spiritual. So it's definitely not being religious. And I think spirituality is acknowledging, recognizing that there is something bigger than ourselves. Now, does it mean we understand it? Absolutely not. And when I wrote the book, My editor, I remember I wrote that chapter and he's like, no. He's like, you need to rewrite this chapter at the end. And I did. It was ended up being the very last chapter I wrote because I had such a hard time with it. But if you look back, the reason we are attracted to people, friends, partners, whatever it is because of spirituality. The reason that miracles happen, there's so much that goes on in the world that we can't explain.
But
And as a scientist, you can only explain such a small amount of it, and spirituality has a lot to do with everything else.
but you
So yes, I did learn that attributing it to a higher source is a cop out before. But that's the truth. There is something bigger than us.
You said that spiritual, you put the concept of people's attractiveness to each other, whether it's in a romantic or friendship or platonic. And you put that under the concept of spirituality. Share more about that. What do you mean?
Well, it's, I know people who are friends who you would never think are friends. You don't understand why they're friends. So if you put it down on paper, there's no reason why they are. But they just enjoy each other's company. They are attracted to each other. So, you can't explain it. So whenever I kind of like to simplify things, hence when I explained wisdom, I had to simplify it. I was not okay with this abstract, I know when I see it type thing. And so with spirituality, it's kind of like when you can't explain it, when it doesn't make logical sense to you, know there's something else at play. And know that you are attracted for a different reason. There's something else going on. We don't know what, but there is.
So the curiosity and being open to something beyond just the human brain at that moment, making conscious choices, we're calling that type of a curiosity that is something beyond what we understand. We're going to put that under the umbrella of spirituality. But the beauty of it is the curiosity of it, the awness of it, the allowance for going from a rigid boundaries to this openness of be willing to see what shows up.
It's funny. Yes, I agree with you, and I think spirituality and curiosity kind of are connected in that regard. And curiosity was my final element, and in a weird way, even though it was the last one. So creativity and curiosity required that someone say that they're creative or it's important. Say the word. And curiosity as well, it required that someone say it. Whereas, for example, humility, they didn't have to say it. They just had to act it, or they had to, and then we gave it to them. And so, but I think going back to curiosity, I feel like it's the foundation of all the elements. I feel like to be able to inspire others, to live a life of meaning, of wisdom, of good decision making, you need to have curiosity there.
Yes, yes. And then you also, after spirituality, have humility. And that's what you said. Like, humility is not something you share, but it's something that you experience and others pick it up.
And I think humility is, with the age of the internet, with the age of social media, we lack humility, or we're promoted to be opposite of that. Show off as much as you can. And you're Persian, I'm Persian. We come from a culture that lacks that too. And so I think humility is underrated, and people don't understand it. They're like, "Why? What's the purpose?" I'm like, "Well, I think it just shows that you are confident with yourself, shows that you're secure in who you are, and you don't have to do all those things." So I think people who lack humility do horrible things, and they feel like they're better than others. They don't connect well with others. Humility allows for you to connect with others.
And for others to connect to you.
Yeah, oh, of course.
Yes, because I think that, we're around age 10, 12, every human being goes through this concept of touching touching base with the superiority, because they want, I'm better. And that's where most of the time the bulliness starts in school, because I got to prove to you, my superiority. And I think that if we go through appropriate developmental stages and healthy developmental stages, then we pass through that stage and we find our humility and, find that, yes, you don't have to stand, and there's always somebody better than you. There's always somebody smarter than you, and there's always somebody less smart or, less capable than you. And you're always going to be somewhere in the middle of the spectrum, whether you like it or not. So this concept of, hitting reality that, yes, I'm in the spectrum all the time. And even in my own life, I could be better at one age at something which I'm no longer better than at another age, right? Like we could be very agile and vibrant in our youth, and as we grow older, we might be better at something, but not necessarily at the agility. So when we really see ourselves and others within the spectrum moving forward, then you can really take on the concept of humility and be open to that.
I agree.
Tolerance, which is, we talked about the resiliency at the beginning, and part of it is tolerance, but these are so different. What showed up with tolerance as one of the key wisdom factors?
I think when people describe themselves as being very open-minded, to not judging, and I think it's easier said than done, but the minute you judge, the minute you say, oh, this person is this because of this, then you're judging. I think being tolerant is being open to all forms of ideas. I think it goes beyond just what we're used to, race, religion, ethnicity, all those things. It's more of like ideas and where you come from, what you believe in. It's all of those.
So there's a factor about tolerance that first comes from having the judgment, and then as if I'm tolerating somebody, like I'm fixed in what I believe, and then I'm tolerating someone with another belief or another way of being, whether it's a physical concept or a mental concept or an ideology or whatever it is. But it seems like when we're saying tolerance is also accepting that everybody's biased. And as long as they understand their own biases, then they can also open their perspective in accepting others. But I was does that make sense?
We are biased. Yeah. We're human. I mean, you can look at the news, the news can be biased. And I think we're human and we're not robots, so we're biased because we have the emotional component of that. But I think the idea of tolerance is not putting up with it. That's not what it meant. It meant from the get-go being, okay, I'm going to put my biases aside and not judge. So it's different in that, being open to thoughts, being open to differences.
I remember I was talking to one of the judges. She was one of the first, I think, Persian judges in Los Angeles area, in the California area. And we were talking about also sexual orientation. And I remember the conversation showed up around tolerance. And I heard this from her, and it was beautiful. She said, I hope that we get to a place that we don't have to tolerate each other, but we get to a place that it is actually no longer an issue and relevance. Like we accept each other's differences, we accept each other's similarities, and we accept each other's differences with what they are and exactly as they are. And we can kind of like be together from that place. And that really resonated with me of how to, how the wisdom gets us there, because we're talking about the wisdom that we become with the humility, with the spirituality, with all of the other elements that you share, with the curiosity to come to a place that we accept each other's differences and know that all of these differences are great to be, because they're just part of all the, different parts of ours that are just around us. And we get to see the collage of all the different matters that are on Earth, regardless
Right.
of, the beauty of the colors.
True.
And now then there was creativity, and then you closed with curiosity. You shared about creativity, and you said that it had to be stated. And do you mean, for example, that it's visible? So if someone is being creative inside, it doesn't show up, but if it comes in an art, if it comes in music, if it comes in something, an action that is showing up, then the creativity shows up?
Well, it's funny because a lot of people say, oh, I'm not creative. Oh, I'm not this. I'm like, well, I tell everyone, think of yourself as a kid. When we were kids, we had these imaginations. We looked at a bed sheet, we made it into some fort, and we had all these random, and then we asked questions, why, right? So we were creative and curious. So, and actually, I think with creativity, everyone needs to know that we have it in us. It's a matter of what we want to pursue more versus less. So we all have it in us. And just like the way a person looks, dresses, what they eat, what they do, that's all creative. That's all different. And I think that's their signature. So I think with creativity and curiosity, it's more of, you know what, we all have it, and you can harbor, you can make it bigger if you want, or make it smaller.
Absolutely. Everyone, Common Wisdom Journal by Dr. Laura Gabayan.
Well, the Common Wisdom is the book.
Yes.
The journal, it helps you. So after, when you get the book, there are excerpts as to what you can, or that ask you questions to think about it. And a lot of people said, oh, we really like those questions. And that's when I did the journal, is that I summarized each chapter for a page, and then I wrote more questions. And that it's just there to help people come up with more to think about.
And why
But
do you
Common
think
Wisdom is the book. And I feel like, and the reason it's called Common Wisdom is because, what are the 8 common elements? Hence Common Wisdom. And so I feel like you can buy one or the other. They don't have to be bought together, but yeah, having them helps each other.
journaling supports you to tap into your wisdom?
I think journaling is an objective ear. It kind of not only has you lay it out, put it out there, but also by journaling you look at it yourself and you're like, wait, why am I obsessing over this? Or why this kind of helps you, come up with thoughts yourself. So I think journaling is great. It's peaceful. It's good for you to spend that time for yourself.
Beautiful. As our time is coming to close, Dr. Gabayan, anything we haven't shared that you really want people to know?
No, I would just say, just know that things work out and things happen for you and not to you. And it's really hard to think of it that way, but they really do. But think about 10 years from now, how things do happen for you and not to you. So I have a website, lauragabayan.com, and on there I talk about my thoughts. You can buy a book and whatever you want. So it's gonna be, and then we recently just came up with, took me a long time to write this, the Wisdom IQ test. And the Wisdom IQ test, it was really, really because a news station, all the people in the news station were pointing out which of the 8 elements they were good at. And I think the Wisdom IQ test kind of tells you you're good at this and you're not good at that. And it's really helpful. So before you even look at the book, I think it's good to take the Wisdom IQ test.
So they can go to lauragabayan.com.
Take it, yes.
Go to the website, get the IQ test. I'm sorry, get the wisdom IQ test, and then choose between either the book or the journal. And the journal, just know that has the space for you to write down. It has more questions. The book shares more with you, goes through each chapter more elaborately, and then it does have some questions for you to answer to find where you are in the wisdom and what part you need to work on a little bit more, so that you have the 8 wisdom that in the scientific method has shown that people who are known to themselves as wise and known to their community as wise have shared with us.
Yes.
It was a joy.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, it was a joy to have you, and I'm glad that you are a fellow Southern Californian person. So it was beautiful to meet you.
It was.
And for all of you who are out there, if you like what you heard, please share with others and let us know. Let us know. And if you have any questions for Dr. Laura Gabayan, please let me know, and I'll be sure to send it to her for her to be able to respond back to you. And don't forget to go to the Foojan app and go through the awareness integration journaling for yourself. And I will see you next week. Create an amazing life for yourself and everyone around you. And until next week, bye-bye.
Are you a psychotherapist looking to enhance your practice? The Awareness Integration Therapy, developed by Dr. Foojan Zeine, is a comprehensive guide to the principle and techniques of this powerful therapeutic approach. Join the growing community who have elevated their practice and expanded their skills by embracing awareness integration therapy and witnessing its life-changing impact. Order your copy on Amazon now.